guys! Welcome back to Chapters Create Character. My name is Legend Moore, and today we're going to be reading two new stories of Black heroes. Their names are Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman. Just a little side note, have you read this book called I Am Harriet Tubman? So, it's about her life, and what's funny is, on the cover it says, Ordinary People Change the World. So let's do that. Let's change the world, one book at a time. I hope you enjoy these videos. Bye! Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was a renowned abolitionist, orator, politician, and activist. An orator is a speaker. Frederick Douglass was born into slavery in Maryland around 1818. He was separated from his mother as an infant. An infant is a baby, in case you didn't know. For a short time, he was raised by his maternal grandparents. But by the time he was 6, he was separated from his family again. Man. In 1826, Frederick was given to new owners who lived in Baltimore, Maryland. The slave owner's wife took a liking to him and decided to teach him the basics of reading. Unfortunately, her compassion did not last long. When her husband found out, he said that it would make Frederick unfit for slavery, and they did not let him read anymore. Frederick was forced to continue his education in secret since teaching enslaved African Americans to read was illegal. How was black people reading was illegal back then? Can you believe that? He would pick up lessons wherever he could, from eavesdropping on white children or reading any piece of writing that he could find. He eventually began to teach other enslaved African Americans to read. Frederick felt that he had to escape slavery in order to survive. One day, he made a promise to himself that he would escape by the end of the year. He made a plan with several other enslaved people, but someone reported them and they were prevented from escaping. However, in 1838, Frederick did successfully escape and head north. A few years later, he married and moved to Massachusetts. Sorry, guys, it's a tongue twister. As a free man, Frederick began his life's work of opposing slavery. He was a masterful speaker, and he traveled throughout the United States educating Northerners on brutality of slavery. In 1845, he published his first autobiography, which was read around the world. Can you believe that? That's like more than 1 million people. That's a lot of people. For nearly 2 years, he traveled through England and Ireland. When Frederick returned to the United States, he began to publish the North Star, an abolitionist newspaper. When the Civil War began, he successfully advocated for the enlistment of African Americans in the Union Army. He also began to call for the right to vote for African Americans and for women. After the war, Frederick continued to demand equal rights for everyone. He became the foremost black leader in the history of the United States. I have often been utterly astonished since I came to the North to find persons who could speak of the singing among slaves. As evidence of their contentment and happiness, it is possible to conceive a greater mistake. Explore more. Frederick Douglass was a master orator. Read his speeches at frederickdouglass.org. Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was a freedom fighter and abolitionist after she escaped slavery. She led dozens of other enslaved people to freedom along the route of the Underground Railroad. Harriet Tubman was born as Araminta Ross around the year 1822. She lived on a plantation with her parents and siblings, but the family was split up, with different members sold to different plantations. She worked as a house servant from an early age, as young as 5 or 6. Throughout her childhood, Harriet was brutally beaten and abused by the slave owners. These horrific events instilled in Harriet as a desperate desire to be free. That's not right. Harriet consistently planned her escape, despite knowing that there could be violent consequences. In 1849, she ran away to Pennsylvania, a free state. She worked and lived as a free woman in the city of Philadelphia. But Harriet's own freedom was not enough for her. She wanted her whole family to be free. Harriet knew that if she returned to save her family, she would be putting herself in danger and could not be enslaved again. Her friends in Philadelphia warned her to be cautious because in 1850, she left Philadelphia to rescue her family. Over the next few years, Harriet led more than 70 people to freedom along the Underground Railroad. Even as slavery ended, Harriet could continue fighting for freedom when the Civil War started. She joined the Union Army and worked as a nurse. The soldiers noticed that she was familiar with the land and the people. They knew that Harriet was an organizer and a leader. So she's leading a team. She was called on to lead an important Union raid around the enemy territory. Now! It sounds like a battle to me. She became the first woman in history to lead a military raid. Harriet dedicated her life to ending slavery and leading others to freedom. She did everything she could to help others, giving away money and property even though she was living in poverty. Her bravery and determination not only helped her free many people, but also to expose the injustice of enslavement. I was the conductor of the Underground Railroad for 8 years. And I can say what most conductors can't say. I never ran my train off the track, and I never lost a passenger. Explore more. Look for Elise's Freedom Road, an Underground Railroad Diary by Jardine Nolan. To read a historical novel about an enslaved girl's journey to freedom.